So this right here is one of the major changes that we're going to see with the Hyundai Venue facelift. Okay, maybe 1-2 zig wheels and 2 things that I must mention before we go ahead with the rest of this video. First of all, we do not have the complete price range at the time of this video being shot, but you can go ahead and check out the links given in the description for not just the ex-showroom prices but also the on-road prices that are relevant to your city. And number 2, there will be first drive reviews coming out next week. So with that being said, let's get into it. This is the Hyundai Venue facelift, and as you'd imagine, they've done just the right amount of changes to keep the things, familiar, but also refresh things, keep it a little bit more modern, a little bit more stylish even. And that begins with the taillight. So you have this connected LED taillight at the back. This will be integrated into the brake lights, and over here you'll see the indicators rather being integrated, and lower down below you'll see these little reflectors, as well as that right there is the reversing light, with the bumper design itself becoming a lot cleaner right now. Moving over to the side, you will spot these new 16-inch alloy wheels, 215/60 R16 that is. And moving further along, you can take a look at the refreshed front end. The first thing that a lot of people may have found a little bit polarizing, at least in images, is this large parametric grille, something we've seen similar to the Creta, Alcazar, and even the Tucson for that matter. And in person, I have to tell you, this dark chrome finish, it's actually not as, blingy as you may have imagined, not as showy, but something that even somebody with mild taste may just end up enjoying. Down below, you'll spot a cleaner design for the lower bumper as well. Up front, you'll spot these DRLs around the squarish finish headlights. You'll have the cornering lamps in there and LED projector headlights instead of the halogen projectors that we had seen earlier. Give you a nicer look of the exterior, and as you'd imagine at one of these launch events, it's an absolute attack on the car with barely any room for anyone else to get in the clean look of the car. And since we are on the outside, let me just touch upon the color options really quick. So you do have a white, a silver, a grey. There's a black as well, and a red that you spot over there, if you can see it through the sea of humans, and a blue as well. That red color, by the way, is also available with a black contrast roof. Now, pop open the boot for a quick second. Did I forget where the boot release is? No, I didn't. Here we go. So still about the same 350 liters that you saw with the pre-facelift car. Yes, you do have 60-40 split seats as well, but there's something more interesting beyond that, which I'll get into once the interior has cleared up just enough. Now let's quickly touch upon the engine options and transmission options. They are the same as before. So you have the 83 horsepower 1.2 liter 4-cylinder petrol. That's going to be their entry level offering. That is the version that you're getting in the base E model with a manual transmission only, and across the range it's only going to be a manual transmission with that. You also have the 1 liter 3-cylinder turbo petrol, which is sort of the halo offering with the Venue, something that became very popular with this particular car. That's available with a clutch pedal-less manual transmission, that is the intelligent manual transmission, and a DCT as well. And this time around, the interesting bit is that you will have the option of the DCT even with the top spec SXO, which is something we had not seen earlier. But something you are still not going to see here is the option of a diesel automatic. It's the same 1.5 liter diesel that we've seen before, 240 Nm, about 100 horsepower. So that is only available with this 6-speed manual transmission. And the variant options, there's an E, there's an S, and there's a mid-range sort of mix in itself, because you have an S Plus that's exclusive to the diesel, and there's an S option that you'll find with the petrol versions. And there's a lot of mixing and matching with that mated mix that's going to confuse you a lot about what features is available with what variant and what powertrain. Hyundai just really enjoys giving us some great deal of confusion with the variant wise features matrix, but something that we will be simplifying on Car Dekho with our variants explained, tech stories as well as videos. Now beyond the S Plus and S option, you also have the SX and the SXO, and like mentioned before, you do have the DCT option that will be available with the top of the model, top of the range model as well. Now let's take a short break before we jump into the This is the interior now. So on the inside, you're going to spot this combination of black and, well, they call it grayish, but you can practically call it ivory because it is a very light shade of white. And down below, what you're going to see is a first and segment powered adjustment for the driver's seat. But the interesting bit is that the height adjustment, that is still manual. What you do have is fore and aft adjustment, that is going to be electric, as well as the backrest adjustment. No, you do not get the option of ventilated front seats, but you do have this combination of leatherette on the side as well as a fabric on the inside. And once we jump inside, you're going to spot the new instrument cluster. Let me just turn down the blower speed ever so slightly. This new instrument cluster is something that's going to be shared with the Kia Carens, something similar to the Kia Carens. And over here you're also going to spot different displays like the Highline tire pressure monitoring and even turn-by-turn navigation inputs that will show up over here. And since this is the DCT, you'll see these colors changing. Why is that? Because that's the normal, eco and sport drive modes that you will only be seeing with the 1 liter turbo DCT. So it's not something just with the 1 liter, the IMT is not going to get it. So there's a very interesting blend of features and variants that you're going to see, like we mentioned before. Can get a little bit confusing, but hopefully we'll be helping in sorting that stuff out. And yes, you do still have paddle shifters. Now, an interesting highlight is this new touchscreen. It's an 8-inch touchscreen with the top as well as the one below top version, but this is the HD touchscreen. And one of the interesting bits is that I believe if you step into the media option, if I can just go ahead and find that, just walk you through this real quick. So yeah, you'll spot this sounds of nature. So this is basically ambient sound, you can think of it, and along with that you have a variety of options. It's going to be basically something to relax you, hopefully stop you from honking or getting too agitated while driving. And around these bits, something you won't be able to spot right now, but you do have the addition of ambient lighting as well. Down below you'll spot the controls for the auto AC. You do have a USB type A as well as a type C output and the 12-volt socket over there, wireless phone charger, and there is wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and that is not with the top of the range version. So this one will have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, but it's not going to be wireless in the top of the range version. And like we mentioned before with the engine options, this is the turbo DCT. So you'll see the drive mode selection down here, and you have the gear selector. This is the only automatic version that you do have with the Venue. And up top we see the electric sunroof. Now let's jump into the back, because there's actually a fresh talking point back there as well. So over here you'll see that the change isn't massive. In fact, I'll jump over to the other side to give you a better look at this, because what you do have is a 2-step recline for the rear backrest. So a lot of people had complained earlier in the Venue that the default seat back adjustment, or the default seat height or angle, was too sharp for them. So this is now giving you an option of getting something more relaxed and also something more upright if that is your preference. Over here you spot the armrest with cup holders. You do have rear AC vents along with 2 Type-C chargers down below, and the air purifier, while in itself it's not a brand new feature, it's now been integrated into the armrest, so it's not going to be occupying any space in the front cup holder. So that is the Hyundai Venue facelift, and like we mentioned before, the full price range, on-road prices, all that stuff you can get with the links given in the description. We will have the first drive reviews coming out to give you an experience of what it feels like on the road, because one of the things that Hyundai has mentioned to us is that with the turbo DCT, they have changed the tuning of the transmission ever so slightly to make the driving experience a bit sportier, a little less conservative than it was before. So that's it. Let me know what you think about the Hyundai Venue facelift. Was it too over the top? Was it mild? Is it just right? Whatever it is, let me know in the comment section down below. And do not forget to hit subscribe if you have not already.